Your mind changes the moment you stop deciding and start acting. Julius Caesar crossed a small river and changed human history forever. This act triggered a mindset where there is no turning back. Your brain begins to process information in a brand new way. You develop tunnel vision and ignore every doubt or warning. Oddly, your confidence grows even as the deadly danger gets closer. You only see information that proves your chosen plan will work. You feel in control of things that no man can truly master. This overconfidence is a powerful tool, but also a dangerous trap. Experts call this the implemental mindset of a true warrior. Once you cross that line, the time for talking is over. But what happens when your mind lies about the final cost? The Viking wolfmen stood in the cold mist before the great battle. Deep drums began to beat like a heavy heart in the forest. Low chants filled the air to drown out every human thought. They bit their wooden shields until their gums began to bleed. Their old names died as the animal spirit took over their minds. Adrenaline flooded their bodies and granted them temporary superhuman strength. This chemical rush turned their blood into a river of fire. They entered a trance where pain felt like a distant memory. Deep wounds opened up, but the warriors did not even flinch. To these men, the body was only a shell for battle. Most saw only madness, but these killers stayed strangely disciplined. But once the red mist fades, the price of this power arrives. The Japanese warrior saw his life as a precious, fragile jewel. To them, a brave death was a form of deep spiritual cleaning. They believed dying in good form purified every mistake they ever made. A noble end promised great rewards in the next life to come. These men saw fate as something you endure, not something you create. Paradoxically, the fighter gained ultimate power by surrendering his own will. They did not try to be the authors of their own stories. Their value came from how they acted during events they could not control. Self-worth was a choice made in the heart of the storm. It is better to be a shattered jewel than a complete roof tile. This fatalism made them fearless because the end was already decided. But what happens when the desire for a good death becomes a trap? James Stockdale flew his jet over the dark jungles of Vietnam. Suddenly, fire ripped through his wings and he fell to earth. He left the world of machines and entered the world of wisdom. For 7 long years, iron chains bound his aching legs. Torture became his daily shadow in the silent stone cell. Here is the secret. The hopeful optimists died first. They waited for holiday miracles that never arrived. Stockdale chose to look at the most brutal truths instead. He faced his dark reality while holding faith in the end. He knew that chains could never bind a disciplined mind. Pain is just a judgment we place on the event. He survived because he mastered his thoughts, not his captors. Imagine you stand on the edge of a great dark abyss. To survive, you must believe you can fly across the gap. You have crossed the Rubicon into a bold new mindset. This state creates a surge of confidence that feels like armor. This tunnel vision helps a leader strike harder in battle. Paradoxically, your brain must lie to keep your heart beating. You ignore every distraction and push through the fire of pain. This focus allows you to persist when all hope seems lost. Nature rewards the overconfident warrior who dares to take the leap. Evolution favors this lie because it pushes us beyond our limits. Without this inner fire, we would stay frozen in the dark cave. But this divine madness hides a trap that can destroy you. Caesar crushed the last Republican army at the bloody Battle of Thapsus. Now, the mighty conqueror marched toward Utica to claim his final prize. Caesar used fake mercy to turn his rivals into props for his theater. Cato the Younger refused to bow before the man who stole Rome. He believed true freedom meant being a slave to no living master. The senator spent his last night debating deep philosophy with dear friends. Paradoxically, the man who fears nothing has already defeated every worldly king. Cato read Plato's words on the death of the brave Socrates twice. He chose a sharp blade over the heavy chains of a tyrant. When doctors stitched his wounds, Cato tore them open with his hands. He died on his own terms to remain the Republic's last man. But a legend that refuses to die creates a spirit that never sleeps. Resolve is not a solid stone. It is a flickering candle flame. Ancient masters knew that the will to die is a perishable gift. Every second of waiting eats away at a warrior's final determination. You can never hold suicide troops in reserve for a later day. The spirit is like a lightning bolt that must strike right now. Wait too long, and the fire in the heart turns to ash. Paradoxically, the most lethal resolve is also the most fragile one. Commanders give a glorious farewell and launch the strike at once. The time between the decision and the attack must be tiny. The mind begins to bargain with life if the body sits still. A warrior must leap before his own thoughts pull him back down. But even the strongest will can crumble when the target is invisible. The moment you decide to fight, your mind plays a trick on you. You cross the Rubicon and suddenly believe you are the master of fate. This is the illusion of control, a trap for the world's greatest generals. You start to believe you can dominate even the wild wind. Your mind creates a lie that your skills are greater than reality. You see yourself as an invincible god instead of a mortal man. Here is a paradox. The more you commit, the less you see. You develop tunnel vision and ignore the warnings of your scouts. New information is blocked if it questions your chosen path. This closed-mindedness kills your ability to find a peaceful exit. Rational judgment dies when you refuse to compromise your pride. But what happens when the enemy knows you are blind? The ancient masters knew a secret about the warrior's heart. Steel often breaks, but a forged character remains truly unbreakable. Spiritual fitness is the deep well where your character is born. Character is the critical starting point for all soldierly readiness. A warrior's true value begins with who they are deep inside. The strongest shield is not iron, but an invisible, resilient spirit. A strong spirit lets you finish your mission with total honor. It guards you against the dark shadows of your own mind. Daily practices protect you from the deep pain of despair. They lower the risk of self-destruction after the fighting stops. Your character is the only armor that never rusts away. But what happens when this spiritual armor meets the ultimate fire? The ancient spirit of the fighter still lives in the modern world. Today's elite forces use rituals to make the spirit professional. They treat your character as the most important part of combat. Character is the secret starting point for every great victory. Toughness and resiliency are now the ultimate tools for any warrior. You must balance your physical power with a strong inner soul. The internal battle of the will is the only fight that matters. Mastering your own mind is harder than defeating 1,000 foes. Real courage comes from knowing exactly who you are inside. Authentic living is making choices you are proud of every day. You should choose the right path even if you might lose. Being a modern monk means living without any fear of return.